8 o'clock. Let's get it. Hey Google, turn lights blue. Okay. Hold on, I got y'all real quick. Everybody doing? Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Gotta add more to this thing with it.
I got something they need to fix about this up, man.
Worst meme that you hate about you? Like
What
memes,
worst
memes.
meme? Damn.
Would it be this one?
Y'all fucked up. Man, listen, I've never seen this in my life. I've never seen.
Hi, my name is.
Where is he?
What happened is the Boule.
Let Kaya come in and now Sexy Red. Go ahead, Mo. You want to talk about the prisons? Go ahead.
Right.
Go ahead.
And what happened is the Boule blacks are getting cut out the picture because before you had to have black, gatekeepers that have their eyes and ears on the streets looking for the next new artist and the up and coming artists. Now it's all done on social media.
Right.
So the people actually pick directly who they want. So there's no need for the black executive no more. You don't have these high profile positions like you used to in these record companies.
Nope.
So I'm just to wrap on that topic. It is what it is, but there is a consequence. I've been warning this star for 4 years since I've been calling your show.
Thank you, man.
There is a Crown Bill 2.0. It's not coming. It is here.
Testing. Mic check. Getting that party started. How everybody going? Testing. Mic check. All right, we good. Oh shit. We got them up in here. There. Hold on, give me 1 second, Bobby.
No, you good? Legalese, like there's a double language you can invest in. You can buy words, you can buy colors, you can buy property. It's anything. It's just basically making money. Why sit around and scroll through Twitter or something like that when you go on a share of it? Every time somebody makes something, or every time somebody download it and they get a share of it, why don't you get a share of it? Or every time you buy some Jordans, why don't you go buy a share of the next pair? Because you're spending $250 on a shoe that costs $20 to make. It's $15 to make the material for a Jordan, but you're getting taxed over $185 something just to go buy the motherfuckers. And then half the time y'all thinking the motherfuckers are real, and they even put fake shoes on the shelves sometimes themselves. So instead of going to buy Jordans or some shit like that, go buy a stock. And every time the homies go buy.
Okay, we back up in here. Yo, what's going on with you, man?
Shit, I'm smooth. Just want to be grateful. I want to start out by saying thanks to Mo, Grump, ACOG, and AO Facts. I want to say appreciation to these men. At the end of the day, they gave me some great constructive criticism, and God told me to sit down, so I'm coming back now. I had to start off with that. These young men are prolific. I'm just gonna say straight prolific. They was with me in a time of need at the end of the day, and they could have gave up on me. So I want to thank God for these brothers before we even get started.
Okay, appreciate it, man. It's all love, man. We about to rock out. We do like how we usually do, because we had what's his name? Brian. And we had a few other people who definitely like to hear you say things. Matter of fact, can you hear me well? Am I too low?
Yeah, nah, you good. You good.
Okay, so we have people who definitely want to hear you talk about things. We're going to get into it, but how about this year, 2024? Let's just say that. What do you think in the realm of social media society, how it's going to go?
In the realm of social media, we're about to look at the new age of self-govern your influence. If you can't self-govern your own influence, then you will be seen as nothing but a copycat. This is the age of the thinkers. It's called a great reset. And I talked about this a long time ago, to where they said everything that was primitive, type 0 civilization, will not have a need in its life no more, because they need new thinkers. So every person who you're just pushing out your ideas, if you know that it's going to hit for something, please hold on to that and talk to God about what to do with it. It don't matter to me what you believe in. Just don't let your influence get taken by somebody else. Don't just come on social media if you know people rock with you, or you have a certain type of influence, and get somebody else paid. I advise you to start learning a little bit more deeper, and I'm not going to say I advise you to, I would suggest you to, and it doesn't have to be nothing specific at that. And if keep up on current effects. Don't make knowledge your identity. Make it to where you can store and look at each continent like a library, and you can go through your Hall of Notes and pick from it.
Hey man, I ain't gonna lie to you, I gotta go back and hear that again because you have put a couple of gems up in there for real. Like it's getting real wild now. That's all I gotta say. Like we talked about earlier, you said like if it looks too good to be true, it's not, it's not true. Yeah, people like that gritty, like what we doing right now. People like that because they'll feel like they're a part of it once they start going up there. So that's one thing I'm realizing on my behalf. And shouts out to you as well, and MoFax and them because this is a new year, and with Deep Impressions, long live with Deep Impressions. We gotta do this for bro right there because this is what he wanted. He believed in me and all of us over here. But
I got a question. Did we lose that brother? Is that brother at home already?
I'm sorry. I'm sad to say, like he in spirit with us right here, but his wife
Respect.
definitely got the account though. So she
Respect.
Shouts out to her right now for real
Yes.
because
Condolences as well.
Yeah, exactly. Just that's how life is for real, man. And it's just like you just don't know. And shit, I ain't gonna say that. That's irrelevant right there. But with this right here, with our brother Deep Impressions, he definitely from the groundwork been representing with us, and I'm just glad that we still connected with him and his family. And shouts out to her. She has some people in her family to definitely subscribe to our channel and support us, and she's still gonna be there representing, pushing it on. So yeah, that's
I'm right there with her, bro. I lost my mother the past 3 days last year after my son's birthday. That's why I went missing for a minute. I ain't even joking with you. Lost my mother.
Yeah.
She had a heart aneurysm, but she passed away back home in the Seminole territory where my grandmother was from. As people been watching me from a distance show my lineage and stuff, I've been really focusing on showing people how to not only reconnect, but understand that there's more sides to you than what they're telling you at the end of the day. And you should balance yourself out by getting to know yourself evenly. So not only that, I had a little cousin that go back to the Florida territorial Seminoles, and she committed suicide. I'm gonna say it like that. And then my daughter's mother, I don't know if I ever explained that to you, but my daughter, the day after Christmas last year, not this one that passed, but the one before that, 4 a.m. I got a call. My baby had to watch her mother pass away in front of her with me on the phone trying to help her save us. And I still ain't even took the time for that, but God has given me the mentality on how to shape it and focus it at the end of the day.
Yeah, yes, sir. You're right about that. It's just wild, we dealing, and it's crazy when you say aneurysms because not to get too in deep, but with our brother Deep Impressions, with your situation, and we had a colleague at work. They daughter had 2 aneurysms randomly. It's just so like I don't know what's going on right there, but the energy, like how you said, it's like this is life. And you mentioned that we have to unlock certain sides of us, though. I wanted you to dive a little deep into that, though, for real, because I was feeling that.
What I mean by knowing the different sides of you, as you study your lineage, a lot of us are going to come to understand we got 3 or 4 different nationalities in us. The best way to make yourself at peace and at a freedom is learning these sides. Don't be afraid to learn a different language because you know who your heritage come from. I don't care if it's from Africa, Native American to Europeans that's mixed in you. That part of your brain needs that type of peace because a lot of people are stagnant in life because they don't know themselves and they're just going off created characters. It's called scientific and biological racism that equals out giving you black and white people. These are characters that are not originally your format, but these are characters of people who were conquered in spoils of war. It's just like the army. You know how they could take a soldier, strip them down and give them a character? Black and white is the first clones that ever existed. You take groups of people, you hollow one of them out, and then you rebuild them and give them the projection you are, while the other half gets to benefit from not going through that at all. So people should take the time to be like, I'm not a crayon. Even if you identify as black, this is no disrespect. I just want you to see what it's like to live free and just to question everything in life and see what it's like when people try to force you to be a monolith. Monolithic living does have an effect on people because every time somebody does something, if you identify with them, you're going to feel the effects and pain of what that person done, because everybody who identifies as that is going to actually get blamed for the same stuff as well. And I don't think that's right. But if all the people start to understand, no matter if you identify as white or black, that you're mixed with 3 or 4 different ethnicities and nationalities, you more than likely will be in the same family twice. What does this lead for the next generation? It leads for them to quit focusing on race and how to make racisms like outlawed. It gives them a chance to make schools to be forced to teach different languages as a curriculum. It's forced to teach different nationalities as a curriculum. It'll take society from a type 0 up into a type 3 or 4 civilizations. And it'll give these children a chance to go around the world and actually see people who look like them in different spectrums.
Damn, see this. So I like how you broke that down right there. But what right now in America, you know, shit, we're gonna cut right to it, man. You know, we only got one life.
Shit, go ahead.
You know, with our people, okay, so like, what is it with the situation with we categorize, you know, we represent ourselves as blacks, and then sometimes in a joking manner we be like, okay, that's some nigga stuff or nigga this and that. It's like 1 foot in and 1 foot out when it comes to that. How does that messes with our realm right there?
The black colonial is what I call it. It's the fact that somebody has the slave master as an internal monologue now. So people are scared to shy away from calling themselves the N-word because they believe with the mocking and prejudice that's happening from people who don't even care about learning their lineage, they're going to feel like they're outcasted and have nowhere to go. So people flirt with this line of being, well, I'm going to do this while I'm around them, but while I'm by myself, I'm going to have to feel like I'm alone. I don't think nobody should have to tiptoe around leaving words and phrases alone that come from a conjuring of racism. Without racism, you don't have the identification of being black or a nigga. Without racism, you don't even have these characters or ideologies, period. So it's about time for people to like, all right, when I was being created, God never told me I had to be a color, had to join a race, a political party, or be anything monolithic. It's time to actually start talking to God and understanding during your creation, none of this was a part of it and none of this was asked of you.
See, it's kind of, it's like a challenge. It's difficult because you got it, you know, in the music and all that, and you got other people who it's actually cool now. Because I remember it was this Dave Chappelle skit where, yeah, you know what I'm talking about, right? Where he was like the white supremacy, but he was, you know, hating niggas, and he put up to those white kids in that convertible, and they were like blasphemy. He's like, turn off that hippie boo, da 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 niggas. And the kid's like, he calls a nigga, and it was like, yeah, they rock out. So you got to explain that realm too, with what is, you know, looked at in another light. Yeah,
the fun light. All right, so let's just say, what if people start to study linguistics and etymology and find out in order for you to actually qualify to be black, you got to be a white person, because the definition of being black means to pale or bleach out. So technically you can't be a color that, you know what I'm saying, you're not even fitting the definition for. It just sounds right because people don't understand the slur in that. Children of the Eurocentric diaspora like being called thuggish things that scare their parents, while on the other end, the children who can take identities under that know it is just it's an identity that creates a fear in people. It's a sociopathic behavior, just put it like that. An identity that can create chaos so you can look over other people's feelings and put yours first. The only difference with people who identify as black doing it, they can weaponize slavery if they choose to. That's not saying all people do. If they choose to, and they can stop an opposing person from using that identity themselves to feel cool.
Oh, so you had said some real stuff with that linguistic thing. I'm gonna give one example that I learned out recently. I don't know if it's, shouts out Neely Fuller Jr. You know, Mof actually put me on him a long time ago, but booty, you know what I'm saying? Where like, you know, Freaknik, they be like, I know it's kind of off topic, but it aligns though. They'll be like, I'm about to go get some booty, or, you know, shake your booty. But they said in the English, in the language, the origin of that booty was like from the pirates, which means loot, take something. So it kind of makes sense because, you know, Fleece Johnson, or he'd be like, I came here to get booty and all that. And, you know, you see, it kind of makes sense. Like, damn, we be saying this stuff every day and we don't really think about the meaning of it, if that makes sense.
Or the effects it have on you with that. You see what I don't mean to cut you off, but you going down the right rabbit hole. It's fun once you get into knowing that the body you're given is a character that's supposed to be recreated after every season. That's what free will is. Free will is the ability not to let your flesh lead. God said once you are created, you are not to give your flesh to lead because it is wicked. This is why America's in a muck. Most people identify as their flesh and it thinks for itself. It has its own passion. It lusts after things of the world because it's supposed to be a protector for the being inside. The being that you're given, the life that you're given, the entity that will make this body move should know how to use its senses in order to turn this into a combat soldier of protection. It's already written in any nationality you go to. When you're being created, the first step is do not let your flesh lead. This realm is controlled by people who are good with the flesh, and they call it man, but I know it's man and woman.
Ooh, see, now you speaking facts right there, man. Shouts out. Oh, we got Brian. Give me a second. Brian right here. You know what I'm saying? I've been telling you about with Brian. He was one of them. I mean, for like a year straight, who definitely go back to the lives that we do. He's like one of the 4 who be hitting me up. And
I appreciate him.
Yeah, they definitely like. So you said timeless content, and this is timeless content right here. And I'm just glad that you definitely we definitely here doing it again because it feel like back at like we never left. And
Facts.
The way that we had these conversations is just get more deeper and deeper. But I ain't trying to like long talk winded. Are you ready to transition this to this video clip that been going around the internet?
Yes, sir. Let's get to it.
All right. Hold on one second. All right.
The demon's hole. And what you just asked me a while ago, everyone, this is how you take what I say and apply it in a real time. As we watch this young man, this is a young man who's used to being a nigga. And I'm sorry, YouTube, please don't flag us for that. But we're about to watch what stupidity and ignorance does once you make it an identity.
I think me and Mo Facts, we had talked about this because that's an identity, and that's I'm not trying. It's
say that
identity
shit.
It's an identity for non-constructive in any activities in life.
Sleeper cell.
Sleeper cell, exactly. And it's just it's like a being a state, because you know how they try to promise to be like, no, it's just a skin color with y'all, but it's like a mindset. That's what I was trying to say.
Now you're right. That's all facts.
And this is where it is right here. That's why we joke, like, even I'm guilty of this, but like in the past, you be like, okay, this some nigga shit right here. Oh, but my nigga, that stuff right there to flirt around with it. But this is really what time it is on. So let's go. Can y'all hear it well?
I can't hear it.
You say you can't hear it?
And I can't hear it.
My bad. I think
you good.
Something ain't right then if that's not the case. So let me see.
We doing good there. We keeping it raw. They seeing us mess up and everything. This is the part I like about it. When people get to come in and see how relevant it is.
And see the improvement after a while with it. But that's what we were talking about earlier. That's the authenticity. Let me take this banner down right here, actually. So yeah, that's way more better. But let me know in the chat, can y'all hear that though? Because I don't know what the heck going on. And to be honest, this right here is not even, it don't even need to be like a volume of it, because we just gonna see the body.
Facts.
Let's go.
These are handlers. Let's just play this out. These are handlers. These people are speaking right now. No, let it play out. What you're watching is a state of linguistics being played. The reason why this man got into trouble he was saying stuff like trying to make himself more powerful in the court than the judge, because they take words like that seriously.
Okay, I hear you. Yeah, okay, keep going, man. For real, because you was on point.
Yeah, so when you say when you step in this ball field, the words and definitions do not apply. These are literal terms and definitions that are conjured in its first state. This is why when people speak in court, they'll let you ramble because then they'll tell you, I don't understand what you mean. This is when you should have a linguistics lawyer and a representative lawyer. So when you want something said for yourself, it can be approached with the honor without you seeming like or you being looked down on, because that's what made this man angry. He said, I got me a job. I'm staying out the way and stuff like that. So she took it upon herself, since she heard words like, I'm doing this and I need you to do that. She looked at it like, well, is this young man trying to tell me how to do my job? And she was like, well, no, I feel like you need to actually have a different experience this time with the way you like to do things. And what did he do? The nigga came out in him and he took it upon himself to be like, all right, since you want to go there, I'm going to go here, because he felt like at the end of the day, well, I can't win for losing. So if I'm going to lose, I might as well go all out.
A quick question. You saying, so he wasn't locked up or nothing. He was, what is this right here? Because I'm lost in that part where he was showing up to court. It's like parole or something. I don't know.
It's basically like, say if he was like on probation or something like that, and it was like, well, we need to see that you stay out of trouble and shit like that. And what Mo's saying is actually facts. It's the court. So what are they doing? He's getting checked on the court to see if he can play ball. So what they told him to do before he came back was, let's see how well you stay out of trouble. They were selling him hope, put it like that. They were trying to give him rope to hang himself. But the rope that he took upon himself to go in there with his head too high, like, well, I got this, I got that. And it made the judge feel like, all right, you trying to say you got more leeway than I was actually giving you. And that's when egos collide. So the judge automatically feels like, well, look, son, you don't even know how to even hardly take care of yourself. You can't stay out of trouble. I think I know what's best for you, more like a handler's position. He didn't want that. He was not going for that at all. So he told the handler at the end of the day, well, if you want these handles, I'm going to give them to you firsthand.
See, and then I got to go to my Twitter thing right here, because you got, oh man, we had a whole bunch of different responses on this. I mean, I got two sides of it. I said the first one. And this the Charleston White, you know what I'm saying, with the nigga side and all that.
Yeah.
Well, I don't agree with him. I'm saying at least he been thorough all the way through, because you know how these other gangsters, they be big and bad, but once they come up here, it'll be crime or something. You know what I'm saying? They'll be like, man, I quit the gang banging life, man. I'm sorry and all that. The begging, a spiritual journey and all that. But with him,
that's a fact.
Yeah, with him, he has been like, I'm gonna apply the same pressure that I apply on the dude in the streets, my baby mama. I'm gonna apply the same pressure to you. Hey, throw it off behavior, but hey, it's 3T certified, like you said, Mo. But here's the thing, though. Now what after that? They're gonna beat you. Yeah. Now what? Yeah, they're gonna beat you to sleep, wake you up, beat you back to sleep. What's gonna happen? At the end of the day, what I'm saying is that it's strategic. It's like you didn't win it. I mean, yeah, you did. Okay, yeah, you did win at her, and you show yourself who's big and bad, but they all about the slow win. The system is about the slow win. So it's like, okay, yeah, you done beat up one. All right, cool. We're gonna get you for like 10 more years to sit up in here to think about what you really did. And hope
microaggressively just pissing him off. Literally, that's all they did. Microaggressively just piss him off. What he just did, he already had records and records for doing. All she was trying to do is find that button to push, and she found that motherfucker.
Oh yeah, that's what it is. It's like they try. See, that's what they love. That it's like the word, the nigga word. It's like the attack dog thing. It's like, oh, you think you up D, huh? You got everything going good? All right, you ain't nothing but just a nigga. And they want to see, okay, you gonna turn up now. Yeah, that's right. Get wild, get animalistic, silverback. Oh yeah, see, told y'all. And we laugh at it, but it's like it never fails. Yeah,
I ain't even gonna stunt to you. I laugh at the entity taking control when these people flirt with this demon a lot. I'm being serious. People think words aren't essences, or like demons aren't wise. Most people don't know the diva and the thug are demonic entities that actually exist in nationalities as spirits that can enhance or hurt someone. These are real entities. And like I said, your flesh has its own way. Your flesh loves wicked stuff. So imagine you've been calling yourself the N-word your whole life, and then you call yourself a thug on top of it. All you gonna feel when somebody's trying to be God to you is that right there. You're gonna have that leap of faith. That's exactly what you're asking. That's exactly what it's gonna lead to.
Now she thinking about how am I going to damn ruin his whole life after this one right
Exactly.
Here. She already thinking 7 habits of highly effective people. Like, oh yeah, okay, so we're gonna stop conjugal visits. We're not gonna let his mother see him.
No,
and we might put him in a psych ward. And on top of that, yeah, like it's ideas popping up in the head as we speak right there. And Mo is crazy, but he said it's like a little inside joke with Neely. He was like, after beating that judge, still say I'm white. But here's the thing about it. It's funny because it's like, those of y'all don't know Neely Fuller Jr. Check him out. It was this cartoon series by Carlos 44. Shouts out to him. Neely was talking about a story when he was I think middle-aged, and he was in an elevator at a job, and it was 3 black women, and it was 1 white woman, and they were coming down the elevator, and they said these 3 black women was like, you know, cracking jokes about this white lady because she was dressed crazy, how Neely said, like, you know, her dressing was you know, kind of appealing, but they were cracking jokes on her, like, why you wear that, you know, clown in the circus act and all that. And Neely said when that elevator got to the little floor and it opened, he said a white lady turned around and flipped her hair and be like, at least I'm still white or something like that, and had everybody quiet, and she walked off. And Neely was like, they've been quiet because they know that's true, that's a fact. It's like,
remember I told you about
that, yeah.
My fault.
No, I was gonna say this last thing. It's like when we talking about the system, y'all. So don't get it twisted when Bobby comes in, he breaks it down. When we talk about the program system we in, what she meant by white, she meant like I could be naked, I could be dressed crazy, but I have more opportunities given to me than you and your whole family would probably be in that way, in that sense, on a default. That's what he was meaning right there. But go ahead, my bad, Bobby.
Nah, it's the characters that play. Most people need to understand that being black and white is a scientific biology, it's a scientific racism and a biological. There are 8 men, your collective, that people always wonder about. There are 8 men who created this ideology, and the reason why these people can tax you and tell you how to live is because to be of a race is to be of a taxer. We got Charles Darwin, John F. Bloomberg, Robert Bradley, Charles Darwin. These are people who gave you. Oh shit! Sorry about that. Sorry about that, y'all. We got these people who created the ideology of being able to go around certain places and try this science experiment of cloning people. And how do you clone people? You take people, like I said earlier, like the army did, you hollow them out to a point to where the human still stands, and then you put your projection of what you want that person to be right inside that person. The characters of being black and white actually come with a set of rules. They have the thing in law where it's acting black and acting white, which is how you get judged based on your status. Matter of fact, let me just pull up all these things. I'm gonna let Grump talk, let Grump go ahead for a little bit while I pull this up.
I'm gonna piggyback off that right there. What you write about that with the military from our firsthand experience. If you have any type of I in team, they will break that down from you, or they'll let you know, like, hey, we're gonna take that slate out from you, make you a blank slate. And even when you're doing right, if your platoon's doing wrong, y'all all doing wrong. And that worked wonders in great ways and in negative ways as well. But you was absolutely right about that. This is a scientific, they're masters at doing that. So I wanted to bring up the fact that when you said acting white or acting black, I saw a comedy video of this one black dude. He was saying how niggas clown you for being prepared. He'd be like, I'm about to go iron my clothes for work tomorrow. He'd be like, man, look at you trying to iron your clothes tomorrow, man. Oh, nigga. And he'd be like, I'm about to go ahead and build my credit. Look at you, nigga, trying to build your credit and all that, like cracking jokes. And I laugh at it because it's ignorant. But when you say that this is acting black and acting white, really this is acting constructive and this is acting non-constructive in the system right here. And you just making it be known right there. They just changing those words with the codified words with it. And that's all it is, constructive. What can you do? What can me and you do that's constructive right here from the code book, from Neely teachings and all that? But what can you do? I'm not trying to say go save the world, but it starts at your home. It starts with you. Be like, okay, what can I do that's constructive? And just build upon that. Like, for instance, how can I get more work done in time? How can I get a workout done? Okay, I could go to bed early and I could set my alarm to 4:30 and I could just get up my shoes and everything, go brush my teeth, get right, go for a little mile run around the neighborhood, come back, take a shower, and get ready for just simple stuff like that, and just quick on tweaking on it. But yeah, go ahead.
Bro, you know what's crazy? If people look at the U.S. Census for what black and white people classify as, it's the same nationalities side by side. They just split the nationalities up from dark to light. Y'all are the same exact family members. They just took each family from nationalities and took the dark half and turned you black, and took the white half, took the light half and made you a white person. So if you look up your U.S. Census right now under what classifies as black and white, you will see the same names down the list side by side.
And this right here is I'm telling you, this is part of the system right here, where it's like, due to I'm speaking for anybody who listening, it's knowledge is power. Information is good key. So it's like to the point where, for the fact that you said that, and it's crazy because all this is like a structure, it's like a system right there. Who is not aware to be mistreated? What do they consider themselves as? How do the system look at them as? So it could be mistreatment and misguidance, which is
they got you.
Yeah,
my fault.
No, I'm done. Go ahead.
No, they got there's a studies called the Trios Commission of North American Aboriginal Studies, or African Americans, where they know that there's 4 different types of us, and they got us in a psychological studies on how we work. The first group at the top is the mainstream, comprised of the middle class majority with full ownership stake in American society. The second group is the emergent group, comprised of individuals of mixed heritage and communities of recent Aboriginal immigrants, of other immigrants. That would be where I come from, with 1st through 5th lineages. And then we got the transcendent group, the people who are closer to the people in society, like your underground people who can go famous. Small elite group with a massive wealth, which would be more like liberals and conservative black people as well, with power and influence. And then at the bottom of this group, they have black people. Like, they got us all labeled differently. And it says the abandoned group, a minority with deficits, dreams, and pessimistic hopes. Psychologist Eugene Robinson.
Ooh. I gotta look him up.
And the only reason I want to give people this information is, like, when you go outside, everything around you functions like this, from your job to how you communicate with people in society. People walk around, and I don't think people understand how bad it is to just take on ideologies or identities you don't actually study, because children are being, let me show you how dangerous gang banging is, because once you pick up colors, it's just like grabbing a flag. You're a gang banger. There are children being born right now, and if their families actually knew their lineages, they wouldn't have to start both of these children at a hateful point. So as these children grow up, they'll look at each other as competition, because once you start your lineage at race, it starts at racism. So all they're doing is preparing these sleeper cells. They're preparing them to hate each other, and the only thing that's going to bring these sleeper cells together are the people who control the sleeper cells when they get on TV and say, we're being attacked, but the United States is being attacked, or something like that. That's when the sleeper cells come straight together. And to me, that is the most terrifying but interesting thing to see.
Hey, shouts out to Deep Impressions family over there.
Shout out to y'all. Thanks.
They say we watching. I appreciate that. It's love on y'all side. Y'all family over here. Definitely family. But this right here is much needed. Like how you said, sleeper cell, to the point where they make them be competitive and combative towards each other. But when it's a world crisis, you see how it comes into allegiance. And that is terrifying, but fascinating at the same time, because it's like the energy put behind it, the studies behind. I think as a whole, I think we overlook, and I'm speaking as a whole, we overlook how strategic and how in depth this goes into, though. And I'm pretty sure you know way more than me with how in depth they go into it.
No, it's not even just knowing more. It's just I've always noticed that this is my gift, to seeing a muralist version. I'm no good besides this. One more time for the Deep Impressions. Shout out to Deep Impressions. Long live the deep one as well. So right now we're gonna get as deep as possible. That's why I love doing this. A man named Deep Impressions motivates me daily at the end of the day. Damn, I done got so hard. Where was I at with it? Sorry about that.
My bad. I had lost the train of it too, but we're gonna catch that back again. But you were saying about looking, it's not about knowing who knows the most, about how in depth they go into breaking down the sleeper thing. and you
Yeah,
could
it's not about who knows the best. It's about knowing the people around you. It's about knowing how to deal with the sleeper cells without actually getting into it or involving yourself monolithically with the sleeper cells. Once you, the most strangest thing you're going to do in society, once you start talking to the sleeper cells and the logic, you're going to see the sleeper cell do the, and Grump said it one time, when you see somebody do something like that, it's either one or two things. That person is out of their mind, or that person really don't understand something outside of that program, or like three things. It could be both. So when you walk up to, when somebody walks up to you and just start talking to you in a stereotypical form, I want you to stop and talk to that person and be like, hey, hold on. You're not going to ask me how am I doing? Who am I? Where am I actually from? Instead of just walking up to me and treat me like a color. These programs have people automatically set to disrespect each other in this format, with walking up to each other and talking to each other in stereotypes. But if the only way that they can signify if you are that stereotype is, like they say, if you answer back to it. So this is why when white people walk up, they start talking in certain codes, or they start talking to you a certain way, and they wait for your response to see if they can keep going with it, to see if you justify it yourself.
Okay, can I piggyback off that perfect example? It's like, let's say if you walk in a neighborhood and you're a darker figure, and they're like, hey pal, where you from? Where you going? And almost like Trayvon Martin situation, but it's like, and this is shots out Nilly again, but this is what caused confusion. This is like the Uno reverse. The stereotypical way is like, the hell, I live here. It's like, let me see some ID. And it's like, they're waiting for you to get the away from me, like, oh, get physical or something. That's what, but here's the Uno reverse. I say is I let you rock out. They'd be like, hey pal, where you going and all that? Like, oh, I'm going to my house. You got lost? You sure you from around here? You know where to go? And Nilly did a little scenario like this where he's like, oh, which way should I go? Which way do you think I should belong? And that caused a little, well, you know, this ain't the Jim Crow. Like, you know, this is like, I almost have a question mark on their head, but what you guys think about that though?
No, that's right. They, like you said before, they're not looking to you to respond like that. That's a microaggressive racial way to be like, I don't want you over here, but if I do something to you, I can lose everything. Let me talk to you like you don't deserve to be here, or like I'm an overseer. Bacon's Rebellion. This is what people who identify as white understand. Bacon's Rebellion, the legalization and creation of black and white people to separate slave from owner. So every time a white person hears somebody say, I'm black or I'm a nigga, to them, that's not an identity. That's a slave code for a person identifying as a slave. And they don't hear it no other way. These people don't subjectify their racial history. They just want you to go along with it by being enforced. Has anybody not ever stopped and wondered, why did groups of people all of a sudden just start calling themselves black? But if we look back on videos when they moved in the neighborhood, they weren't calling themselves black. They was pushed with so much hate that they found groups who would live by the projection of what people saw them as. It's like the Dave Chappelle skit when he was like Kunta Kinte. He's like, your name's Toby. It's the Toby Kunta Kinte effect.
Oh, see, speaking of Dave, that was a good example. Remember the other one where he was blind? They pull up at the gas station. They're like, hey, you're not from around here. And he just kirked out like, yeah, get that. Yeah. He had.
That's a perfect example because he couldn't see himself. So as long as he couldn't see what black and white was, at the end of the day, he never knew. He would not know. So he could identify as how he wanted to. It's just a character. You can have a black-white person or a white-black person. These are characters you can play.
He's saying it's not an identity.
It's occupation. I like that. I'm gonna start saying that. I ain't even joking. That's fire. I'm gonna start saying that.
But all this stuff right here is like real deep. It goes. Matter of fact, speaking of that, I forgot. I gotta since we on here, we gotta let Brian come and let MoFax come through if you don't mind.
I don't, man. Bring them on in.
Yeah, we got to though. Definitely, like for real. Like this is because it's like almost coming into together and like firing off pistons in a way, you know, like in the engine. But
fact. Because this is a wise man. This is what people like us were crucified for back in the days, because we went around evenly being able to muralize and balance what was going on to people and give them advice. Even Yahshua or Jesus or whatever you would like to call him, he would look at other people. He was a muralist. He could just tell you about life. He had wise men to tell you about other stuff. He'd be like, here, go talk to him. Go talk to him, because it's not about that. Knowledge is it's like being a Jinchuriki at the end of the day. If most people don't watch anime, that's like watching Naruto and knowing the tail beast named Kurama inside of him. Each person has a piece of God inside of them. That's the mother and the father, in order to play a certain mission. So they can't just find one person or that 12 group of people again and just dismantle them all. So when we were created by the parents, God is a male and a female. You can't just start giving birth to planets, so you can't give birth to anything without a woman. So when they murdered our parents because they worship them separately, the Muslims worship the father, the Catholics worship the mother, and the Christians worship the son. So these people brought you to broken household as well, disguised as religion. And it's just like, well, we got to seek out God's children. We got to see which one actually has the different mind frame. This is why they make certain things like free thinking bad, because they don't want what happened years ago or millennia ago to happen in this generation, where you get a group of people who can actually see everything and give you a balance of how to handle it individually.
The way you keep on going in like that, would it just make me, like, I always got to keep going back to these lives for the timestamps as well.
No, you good.
More, because I call it understanding. And then when I go back over a couple of times or throughout some time in my life, I go through it again. I catch it and I get a capital U understanding. I call it. I'm like, you know how you could understand something in multiple ways?
Perspective, yeah. And this is what this is about. I'm glad you said it like that. This is to open up the multi-dimensions in your lobes. Your brain needs this type of, it yearns for this type of stuff, because your brain needs to find ways to help you reinvent yourself. Just like when the seasons change, you should be able to always shed your old person, keep with that person note in your hall of notes, because the brain's an endless sheet of paper. All you got to do is write down, note from that season, from that person, I learned this, what not to do. Okay, this season we're gonna take what not to do's and look into spaces and take the to do's and go forward from there with it.
See, what's the word for that? Is because I be hearing evolving, but I don't really know the origin of that, the real meaning. I gotta go in the dictionary. You know what I'm saying?
I would call this being aware, an awareness. I don't want to put words like woke or consciousness on it, because every time you learn something new, it just makes you more aware of something that you were blinded by in your occupational character.
Oh, that's perfect. That's perfect. Aware, bringing more awareness, because it's like, yeah, that word. I mean, you see, and I got another thing when it comes to certain words. Let's say if it's a word that means a good meaning or something that's like literal, and through today's society, they could like flip it, or they could like, yeah, I want your opinion on that.
The Eurocentric pluralization of words, which is a double meaning word. Only the Eurocentrics have this. The Eurocentrics, I call it cloning words. They have pseudoisms. If our elders, even both sets of mind, had to learn their God's education and holidays, that means none of that shit is real. It's enforced on people to be accepted. So what did they do with their language? This stuff we're speaking, if we just took the words and broke them in half, it's either 2 words from one language or 2 words from 2 different national languages put together. So what they like to do is they like to play Geppetto. They brain stuff and create it, and then they don't tell you where it comes from. They would just implement it in society around you, influence, commercials, politicians, and things like that. And not only will they take out the actual definition of the word and give you lameness terms and definitions, they'll go as far as into mocking the actual books and books with the definitions and terms literally in them, so you won't read them at all. And what helps with that? With Black people, not all, just this one group of 25% that I was just talking about, they have Black colonial minds, to where if you start reading like Cat Williams meme, people think it's impossible for him to read 3,000 books in a year, and it's not impossible. What do? They reached their peak in high school, so they're making a Disney meme about him now, talking about I show it with receipts. How is a man telling you his pastime and his funds and his get off is consistently reading books, and you try to overlook what he's giving you in order just to go make memes about him because you don't really care? You just want to see him detriment, or you want him pushed out the way because he's telling the truth about your so-called idol that you worship.
I have to agree with you on that, because we know imposters and we know people who's the real deal. Like, for instance, T.I., we know that you look through a dictionary before you do an interview. Come on, man. It's cool to learn that. But one thing Cat Williams said in that interview was, when he was back then roasting that girl back and forth, he said that she had gnarly fingers. And he was like, she probably, I know, because her pretty much saying that she don't know what the definition of it meant. And I looked it up and I saw it and I'm like, this dude really hitting on something. Like, because it's crazy. It's like the majority of his crowd, let's just say they probably don't know what it is, or half of them don't know. But it's the way he presented is still funny. But certain people, you know what I'm saying, it's a good portion that will look up into that word.
And that's
he
how
just
you
so
do it.
fluently. Yeah.
No, that's how you do it. And that's what Grunt, Mofax, ACOG, and AO helped me with. It was like, Bobby, you got this fun about you, but in order for the things you say to stick even more, bring out that more creative and fun side of you. At one point in my life, I thought if I gave people too much fun, they wouldn't pay attention. But at the same time, I got to understand some people are stuck only learning in that type of frequency, and it's not wrong. It's just a non-traditional way of learning shit. I learn in different non-traditional ways. So I'm glad that I've even perfected myself in order to help people who have fun with learning, or have learning turn into fun, if that makes sense.
You're right. So same thing with me. I just do one aspect of, like, let's say a book. I get the physical copy of a book. And those, by the way, shouts out to Don with this book right here. I got you, bro. We're going to definitely, Don Oliver. I don't know if y'all can see it. I'm going to have to put the image up. But this
is that a
right
second
here,
one? Or is that the first one he came out with? I ain't mean to cut you off.
Still the first one right there.
Respect.
Introduction. But all I got to say is that, so we're going to get the ebook, you know, in motion with that. But let's just say, for instance, hold on. Get creative, like this Python book, Coding for Kids. They've been looking at me crazy when I got this from Barnes and Noble, but I'm like, man, this thing lit. I could just go through here, and then they got the YouTube videos of it, and then they got on Kindle, they got the ebook of it and the Audible of it. So when I like process a book, I'll like read it, or I could read it on a digital format, so I could like copy it, put it in Chat GPT. What I'm trying to say is, like, there's many ways that I learn stuff in a fun way, and I'd be like, I'll promptly be like, explain to me like I'm a 10-year-old who has a big imagination. In SpongeBob theme on what does DHCP mean? What does VPN, you know, for a network mean? Stuff like that. And it helps me learn. But you're right, the non-traditional way, because to be honest, they had the traditional way. I mean, that could work for other people. That's how we've been programmed or abide to go by. But if you want to unlock your creativity, I agree with you. And I'm glad you being aware of that, of learning, because you probably learn in non-traditional ways.
I was that child growing up to where teachers didn't like the fact that I was more intelligent than them, but other teachers would tell my mom, don't let nobody fuck with it. You know how they have children who are early gifted, so they go test you to see if you're on a spectrum. That's the only thing that fucking helped people not put me on medicine. It was a therapist and psychologist that told my mom, your son's just intuitive. That means his ass they didn't say ass, he has the ability to know shit without being told or reading a book. But in order for him to keep it like that, you can't let people who don't really know stuff mess with his brain. And ever since then, I've always noticed that I watched children who were on a spectrum because it would seem similar, but they had a very bad behavior problem. But it wasn't that they were bad. It was just the fact that school was not teaching them in the functions in the way that they brain like to learn. School is an obedience zone. That's all it is. Being smart and intelligent are two different things. The ability to be smart is an educational thing. It's the regurgitation of information of somebody who feels superior. And if you don't say it right, they have the ability to hone you and hurt and like hold you back in life. Intelligence comes in like 13 different formats, and school can't teach you none of them. It's up to you and God to go out every day and harness this skill and gift.
So quick question for you. What do you explain this? Like, let's just say that, for instance, like I may not know a subject, and if I go to like 5 different people and I ask them about a question on a specific subject, out of those 5 people, one person will have the answer that's right from the audience. But for me, I don't know nothing about it. So what is it where I'd be like, okay, I hear you, but let me go to this other person. Okay, I hear you. And then I get to the 5th person. I'm like, okay, there it is. I don't know nothing about it, but what is it that make me be like, oh yeah, that's it? And I verify it. What is that called?
It's not that you don't see the people as worthy to listen to. It's just the way that they spit it. That's not your fun function in your brain. That's it. It's like your frontal lobes. It's like, all right, this is what I want to hear, but it's not moving in the same rhythm that my lobes are moving in. So I'm going to go to the next person. All right, that person seemed a little bit more fun. It's like a build up for the person. So it's like when you hit the jackpot, that dopamine just rush. And it just leaves. As soon as you get that information, it's like you just leave from that area. You go lock in on learning even more. That's what I call it. It's called selective buildup.
Ooh, so you just pretty much said that learning is a dopamine. it has something to do with that, right? I
Yup.
didn't know.
The
And
brain
Mo,
needs it. The brain feeds
ooh,
off of knowing the unfathomable, because the scale that man puts you on was the scale that he wants you to learn on. It's just like the movie Lucy. If you take 1 + 1, that's not going to equal 2, because if we take one man and one woman, that's going to equal a third party. It could equal a third, fourth, and fifth party, depending on if she have twins, quintuplets, or something like that. So this is the pseudoism of math when you're spoils of war. Once you are conquered, this is the same method they've been using since like Plato and them, where they go and they invade people and they force you to learn stuff how they want you to learn it. Like you can say 8 + 2 is 10, 5 + 5 is 10, 9 + 1 is also 10 as well. You see what I'm saying?
I feel what you're saying. Yeah, especially when you brought up Plato and how they just go and this is what time we on. Mofax, what's up with you, brother?
Oh,
Everything all good. What's up, Bobby? What's up, Grump?
Yeah, we up in here chilling. I'm glad you had came to stop by, but we was definitely talking about do you want to like brush up on something on like a comment that you made or about
Well, it's something that Bobby said that, you know what I'm saying, made me go ahead and push the button and hop in here. He said that at a young age they study you and try to basically categorize you based on your intellect.
yeah, it's a
Everybody,
book for it.
yeah,
Grump, if you will, pull it up real quick. Sorry, Mo. It's called Quiet. Introverts in the World That Won't Shut Up.
yeah. And that's the thing, because like people know about the prison, the pipeline. You know how they can say this kid is going to be a troublemaker. We could put him on the track to go for him to go to prison.
Yep.
What's not talked about is that that gifted pipeline they have. Once they realize you're intelligent, especially, I mean, as a black person, they silo you off from your people because they say he's dangerous. He can teach them something. You know, he can reach them in a certain way, and they isolate you by elevation. They'll put you in the gifted class. I mean, the reason why I know this because I was I speak about it a lot on the show, but it was
You
an
my
attempt
damn
made.
cousin. You know what I'm going through.
Right. That's what I'm saying. And the thing is, they attempted to do that with me. Luckily, my brother, you're saying he was in the gifted class.
CJ.
I knew what came with it. And I was like, nah, I'm good. I actually took the test and failed on purpose because I just felt weird. If you ever been in a gifted class, it's way different than I use this term meaningfully, general population. When you walk in there, you know what I'm saying, they have natural lighting, they have lamps and comfortable chairs and beanbag chairs, and there's no desk and rows and you know that kind of thing. So the point I'm trying to make is the system of white supremacy is gonna automatically file you into one of these categories that Bobby is talking about because they need to know how to deal with you. They can't leave if you're intelligent. They can't leave you in the streets. I think this is the reason why drug dealing is the crime of choice to lock up black men, because they say, oh, if you know how to use logistics, calculations, social functions, is meeting people, networking, that kind of thing, we need to put a case on you immediately so we can lock you away so you can't be productive with your people. And I'll turn it back over.
No, that's a fucking bingo. That's fucking bingo, because growing up, I've always noticed that if they catch one of us, they'll try to use our brains for us. That means that, like you said, they'll cater to you. They'll let you feel like you over them at a point, and they'll put you in these special rooms. It's just like you going into the NFL or something like that. It's just they want to take your eyes off of like, all right, God gave me a gift to help my people. At the end of the day, no matter how they identify, He gave me a gift to help them. They like, no, before you even get the far of thinking that, let me pluck you off and let me see if I can give you things in life that you seem to not have ever experienced or grew up with.
And one more thing I like to add to that add a natural animosity for towards smart people. That's why we have to pretend like we're not smart. We have to dumb things down. Like I noticed, I didn't do this, but I noticed people that I knew who were intelligent, they would say the right answer, but then follow up or something like that, or some shit like that. You know what I'm saying? To make sure that they didn't come across too smart, because your peers may think you have an advantage on them. And like Neely Fuller say, the white supremacists are the smartest people on this earth. and they what they do is they paint you in a way to make you look like them. That's why when you command the English language, they call it talking white. You know, when you're ambitious, that's thinking white. When you're proactive, that's doing white. All the things you're saying that's proactive and effective, they label it as white. And if you participate in that, it naturally segregates you from the main population.
That's a fact. Let me piggyback real quickly. I found out what I was looking for. There are methods for recognizing a set of behaviors that constituted acting black and acting white. Furthermore, how a person acted or performed could determine their racial status and the benefits and or punishment that came along with racial classification. The performative aspect of racial ascription continues today. Despite the contemporary claims there is no such thing as acting white, racism is much more than an ideology. It requires powers that turn ideologies into belief, into a structure or a social reality. Walter Johnson's work will slowly show under the U.S. American slavery, your ascribed race is determined by the difference between enslavement and freedom, and this is law still to this day.
Hey Mo, what kind of double speaking you got that come up off that real quick? I
think it just validates what I just said. You know what I'm saying? And this is one thing I'm aware of, and me and Grump talk about this behind the scenes. I don't let anybody say I'm different, because you're different, that is a loaded term. I've had white people tell me you're different. Different from what? See, this is when we got to go into the question and answers mode.
Sorry.
Different from what? You know, because when they get comfortable with you, and like I said, this is not a negative or positive. The way we get over this problem is we have conversations, and you ask them, different how? How am I different? Well, they already got a preconceived notion, or this is debate then ideology or race, that if you're a certain color, you're supposed to come with certain behaviors. And the thing is, we're the ones that reinforce that, because whenever you get outside that box, this is what Cat Williams was talking about. You're weird, you're strange, you're awkward, you're all these things because you don't act like you're supposed to act. And they use black people to enforce this. Black people are the policemen of racism, because that's the first one you have to stay in line with, because if you don't, you're going to be ostracized, classified as different, made to feel less than. And then, like, what is a man without a family? What is a man without a clan? What is a man without a tribe? And that's what you become.
On both sides, real quick. 1 second, y'all. I want we got Brian up in here real quick just to say something. Is that Brian? Who is that?
Yeah. It's me. Just for the fun, for the shit of it.
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, loud and clear, boss man.
Yeah, no, actually, I just tuned in. I was trying to fix my. I caught half of that. I feel like I just missed a nugget from Mo. Something about being smart and how that'll get you killed or something. I'm trying to really catch up.
Go ahead, Mo.
I was just saying that they use smart against you. Like white supremacists, Neely Fuller say they're the smartest people on the earth. And if you see how their system is set up off knowledge base, right? The best school, the more you know, the more opportunities are given to you, the better schools you can go to, the more scholarships you can get, that you get a better job. You know what I'm saying? You have more opportunities. But as soon as a quote unquote black person starts to venture into that, they label you as different to alienate you from your people. You know, and that's why you lost. I mean, that's why I say this all the time. Some of the most lost people are the people that they go to these predominantly white schools. They lose their culture, or what we call culture. It was not really a culture, but they lose how to communicate with their own type of people. And then when they come to family cookouts and that kind of thing, they're the quote unquote weirdo or the awkward one. And then you stop coming around. And then you start to have animosity, and then white supremacists use that animosity to actually take negative action against your own people.
So real quick, when you say
Mr.
smart,
Graham.
Mo, go ahead, Brian. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, everything you just said, I wish you could play. It's literally like a minute long clip. Everything you said was not all Trick Baby, the intro.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's how. Yeah, well, once I said leave him alone, And the other side said we can't leave them alone. And it's now we're getting into the refined white supremacists and the unrefined.
Yeah.
The
You did a
refined white
piece on this,
supremacist says we can't leave them alone and leave them up to their own devices. We got to constantly have systems running to divide them and siphon them off to keep them busy, because that's why if you ever notice in a work environment, especially like menial work, like warehouses, things of that nature, even if you don't have nothing going on, they make sure you got something going on. Because they said we got to keep these Negroes moving. We got to keep these Negroes busy because they might get up to something if they're not.
Okay.
Oh,
Well, I just
thanks.
want to say two things though. So for Brian, you could go after Brian. But Mo, when you say smart and when you say white supremacy, what happens if like somebody be like, when you said smartest people in the world on the earth, like what do the definition of smart mean though? Like what do you mean by that? I just want to say that. Now I'll let you go, Brian.
Well, smart, how I see it, is your ability to solve problems. Because that's how they determine how you're smart, right? They give you a test full of problems. And what you have to solve those problems. And whoever to solve the most problems is the smartest person. So that's my definition of smart, is the ability to solve problems.
Okay, my bad. Go ahead, Brian.
No, I don't know. I'm just trying to jump in. I don't even know what would you like me to chime in
No,
on?
it's all good. You could chime in when you want to. My bad. I was trying to get everybody the floor. My bad, Bobby. Go ahead, Bobby, because I know you're talking.
But I was just making sure everybody got a turn. I'm gonna give an insight on one of these collectives, and I'm gonna say the year, and y'all let me know what these years are close to. This is one of your 8 to 7 collectives who created the whole scientific racism and biological racism. It's Francois Bernier, 1620 to 1688. Was a French physician and traveler. In 1684, he published a brief essay dividing humanity in what he called races, distinguishing individuals and particularly women by skin color and a few other physical traits. The article was published anonymously in the Journal des Savants, the earliest academic journal published in Europe, entitled New Divisions of the Earth by the Different Species or Race of Man that Inhabit it.
That was see, and I like how you bring with the numbers, because right there, not only what you said, but I think the numbers have a deeper meaning behind it on the dates. Because Brian, that's in your field too. You put me on with that. I think you know about it too, Bobby. Remember, Brian?
Yeah. 1619 is when slavery was around and stuff like that, if I'm not mistaken. Am I right?
That's when they claim the first slaves came to America, or that's when slavery really jumped off at 6. That's the liberal narrative. But Bobby, can you do a favor for me?
Perspective.
I mean, I want, like Grunt said, I want to bit you understanding. What's the 4 groups again? Can we go over that? Because I heard you say it, but I want to get that bit you understanding.
Right. Well, man, let me pull it back up. It got mainstream, emergent. Hold on. Sorry, y'all. I clicked out of it.
No, that's cool. I caught you flat-footed, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, I think, you know what I'm saying, because if we can identify what that looks like in real life, I think it'd be helpful to people, especially myself.
Give me 1 second. Apologies, audience.
It's all good. It's all good. Brian, while he doing that, add up. What's the numerology for 1692, please?
8.
8.
It's 8. Yeah.
I think it's 1619.
Yeah, but it's 1619. But the connections behind it. Brian's an expert with the narcissist thing and with the. So you said it's 8.
I would say numerology. I just got into not too long ago, but yeah, it should be 8 because 6 plus 1 is 7, and then 9 plus 1 is 10. So you have to add that.
Hoo-wee.
That's respected. These main 4 groups. The first group is the mainstream, comprised of the middle class majority with full ownership stake in American society. The second would be the emergent group, which would be people like us, 1st through 5th generations, comprised of individuals of mixed heritage and communities of recent Aboriginals, Africans, or any person like that comes from a first. Transcendent is the 3rd group, small elite group with massive wealth, power, and influence. And then that 4th group is literally labeled black, the abandoned group of a minority with deficit dreams and pessimistic hopes.
So how I hear this, because I heard it, but I couldn't retain all of it.
Respect.
Let's start top to bottom. How I see it through the system of white supremacy. That small, powerful group, that's the white supremacists.
Facts.
Can you say their characteristics again?
First, we're gonna start with the first. The first group at the top is mainstream. It's comprised of the middle class majority with a full ownership stake in American society.
No, but I'm saying I want to list that according to hierarchy and power.
Oh yeah, okay.
And
so you go through the rest of them?
Yeah. So what's the third one? Because I would see that as the top. That's the
third
white
one is
supremacists.
The third one is what brought us here today that keeps black people at the back. It's the transcendent group, a small elite group with amassed wealth and power and influence.
That's the white supremacists.
Yep.
So then
That's
the
who
next
Cat Williams
group is
was
the
talking
first
about.
group. The next group under that is the first group, the people that have all the rights. That is what quote unquote white people. Because Neely Fuller looks at it like this. He says that there's 3 groups of people: white supremacists, white people, and then non-white people. That's the 3 groups, but I'm going to make it fit to your 4 groups. So you have the third group first. Under that is the first group. Then under that is the emergent. So that's the non-black people that's striving or seeking to be white. That's your first group. Are y'all following me?
That's crucial. Nah, you doing right. I'm about to reorganize it because you said it. That's fire. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
And then the bottom, which we always talk about, black people are the bottom of this country. And this is why immigrants come here from all different countries and feel like they can step on us. We're the welcome mat. You know what I'm saying? We're the built-in floor. So what they do is they dangle whiteness. You know what I'm saying? White people can have access to, you know what I'm saying, whiteness. And if they do it right, they can elevate the white supremacy. That emergent group, that first group you listed, I think it's emergent. Yep. They'll never achieve whiteness, but they dangle the carrot for them. And what they do is keep black people in their place.
Oh, facts.
Okay, so Mo, quick question though. When you say, I wanted to say this, like, let's say if I'm a new listener and you saying white supremacy, I could probably mistaken that as you saying that supreme is like you don't have to cheat. That means you could just, like if you're like Thanos or something, you don't have to like, mislead or all that. And wouldn't that make people think that, start believing like, okay, this section white is supreme, is the best? Like, I'm just trying to like get a better understanding.
Supreme just means that the supreme. So you were saying you don't have to cheat. The way white supremacists look at it is through the lens of manifest destiny. If God lets me cheat and get away with it, God must meant for me to cheat.
Okay, and let's say
smallpox blankets, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, slavery, taking of land, if he let me do that, and I'm telling you their mindset, if he allowed me to do that, then it must, I'm saying it's God's will.
Okay, and let's say if I have a friend named Barbara who stay next door to me and she's white and she's nice and friendly and everything, and let's say she joined this show and she hear that, she'd be like, I'm not like, well, if she get offended off it, be like, whoa, why are you saying white supremacy? Like I'm white, but I don't abide by that. I don't look at anybody who look different than me as inferior or nothing.
Right, and that's why Neely Fuller, and like I said, we're speaking from Neely Fuller's point of view. There's 3 groups of people: white supremacists who participate and further along, you know, saying the system of race, because race is white supremacy and white supremacy is racism. Then you have people that benefit from it. That's the first group Bobby was talking about, that benefit from being white, but they don't participate in white supremacy. They're not actively or they're not actively participant. You know what I'm saying? They just like, well, it just is what it is. You know what I'm saying? This is how I was born. And like I said on my last show, I said the person that's gonna have it the worst is the person that's white but don't want to buy into white supremacy, because they look at them as dangerous, because you have the means and the know-how to change things, and you're saying you might just want to change the system we have going.
But what happened if a black person have the means and a non-white person have the means and know how to change the system?
A non-white person don't have the means. They'll never have the means in this system.
And this is how is that possible?
What do you mean? That's the system. That's what they call the glass ceiling. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Once you get far enough, like this is what we see with celebrities. Once
Yeah.
they get so far up, they hit their head on that glass ceiling and they understand. That's just like, I'm gonna give you an example to take race out of it.
Okay.
You could win the lottery today, Powerball, say it's $1 billion. There's certain neighborhoods you still can't move into.
Ooh, and that you're right. And I'm here in Florida, and I could tell you that's fact. No matter how much your net worth is, it's a whole different. Hell, let's say if you were an Amazon driver, let's say me, and I go to a neighborhood, I gotta put 3 codes in, I gotta get checked and everything just to deliver a package, and I go to Sam's porch and I deliver it, and he calls Amazon local center and be like, hey, what happened to Jacob? You know, and they'd be like, oh, you don't like Terrence or nothing? I'm just saying, like, you know, just like, help me out with that, Mo. How can that work?
What I'm saying, I'm not saying you coming in as a worker. What I'm saying is you're coming in, you got a Powerball, you just got the big check for $1 billion. And you say, I want to move over here to this neighborhood and join this country club. They're not going to ask you for money. They're going to ask you for references.
Yeah.
We need references to vouch that you're saying you deserve to be here. And you're like, I don't know anybody in this neighborhood. They're like, that's a shame. This is hitting the glass ceiling because Jay-Z went through this when he first got famous. He wanted to buy an apartment somewhere in New York City, and they wouldn't sell it to him. Oprah went through the same thing when she wanted to get inside that purse store. And they looked at her and they said, nah, we're good. We don't want you to come in here. So that's my point. You're saying and I'm not speaking from a place of pessimism. I'm speaking from a place of reality that there's certain things that you'll never be able to join, no matter how much money you have, no matter how much clout you have, because at the end of the day, it's based off of the system of white supremacy.
I say this, it reminds me of that rapper Lil Baby begging those jewelers who make watches to be on their list.
Yep.
Put me on y'all list, man. Y'all know I shop good with y'all, man. Come on, man.
You know what's crazy, Grunt? My fault.
Go ahead.
What's crazy is wealthy people don't sit around and talk about money. They sit around and talk about ways how to be strategic mentally, and then they put their money into those places. Matter of fact, let's say we got 4 of them in a room, 4 different types of people who can identify as white. You got probably 2 people with money, then we got probably a construction worker, somebody who builds, then we got the mentalist. The other 2, the people with the money, gonna listen to the construction worker and the mentalist and just make sure their money is all going to the same collective thought, and it spreads out from there. They don't talk about money. They talk about what to do with it in order to keep gates up.
Right. And Grump, did I not just to piggyback off what Bobby said, didn't I say that to you, that just to show you, I'm saying this not to say I said it, but to show you that me and Bobby haven't never talked about this, but the fact we're on the same wavelength. That wealthy people don't talk about money. I'm going to give you an example. Like, that's like you playing Monopoly. You know what I'm saying? If they're having a conversation about railroads, their conversation not how much rent is on the railroad or how much money they made out the railroad. They're talking about market share. If it's 4 of them playing, you know what I'm saying, one on each one of them have on a railroad. They say I own 25% share of the market share of the railroads. That's how they think of it. And they say, how can I get to 50% or 75% or 100%? That's how they think of it, not about money. I was telling Grunt, I said, real wealthy people, they don't even have money. They just sign their name.
Passport.
Thanks.
What's a passport?
Yeah, what's a passport to them? You know what I'm saying? They don't need a passport. They get on their private jet and they fly where they want to fly and they land. I mean, we learned seeing this with, you know what I'm saying, with what's going there in the new. I ain't gonna say it on your channel, Grump. You know what I'm saying? We see it on now. You know, like if I want to go somewhere, I just get on that jet and I go. I don't need a passport. I don't need luggage. I don't need a credit card. I don't need nothing.
No TSA or nothing. What the hell is that?
What is that?
What are we talking about? An Amex card? Man, you see this John Hancock? Mo, put me on that. It's hard because I kind of I understand the difference between power and money, because with money, it's like I got billions of dollars. Like, you know, I got $9 billion. I could buy this, I could get that. But them, they're like, no, like old money.
And this is why I like talking to y'all brothers, because y'all inspire thoughts in me.
Yeah.
I'm gonna prove my point, and with this point, Your biggest purchases you ever made were made with your signature, not with money. If you ever bought a car, if you ever bought a house, shouts out to LJ because we know you didn't buy it. But I'm just saying, when you make that big purchase, it's made with a signature, not with money.
You're right. You're right. That is true. So if you get one of those high 13 family, you put your last name and it adds up, aligns with those families, you're good.
Can I
Getting
say
pulled
something
over.
out there?
Go ahead.
Another thing that I'm wanting to do without actually mentioning a lot is to show the youth the code, which is if you can see each other have potential and y'all can see each other as wise men and women, stick together and use your money like that. Don't ever look at each other as like, if I got more than him, then I don't want to be around him because I'm probably going to have to feed him. It doesn't matter. If that's your brains and your brains can see for everybody, but he knows that he needs help as well, you all stick together and you separate from people. I don't care what kind of tough love you get each other. Just don't get into it. Make sure you always know this is what's going to keep our village safe, especially if you all start to have children so they can also grow up with the village intact. This is the same method they use. They just using it in a more dirtier in a more dirtier way. All facts.
And just to piggyback off what Bobby just said, Bobby, I don't know if you hip to Nearly Full. I'm sure you heard of him, but one thing he always talk about, and is what me and Grump always talk about, the only interaction you should have with people should be constructive. If it's not constructive, be by yourself. Stay alone. Everything you should do should be constructive. And I think that just makes the point and further the point that you were making, Bobby.
That's all facts. No, that's all facts because they're teaching the melanated youth, no matter how you identify, separate, divide. But if you look online, none of their children divide. Shit, you got their children even going out of town. Like I seen this young dude on TikTok, and it is not just all children who identify as white. He said, I want 40 engineers. He said, I want all the engineers, all the artists, all the lyricists, all the graphic designers. We're gonna go rent a house and we're going to get jobs in this area. And all we're going to spend our time doing if we're not working is creating. Man, I watched this video and seen how hyped this shit was. I said, they know the code. They found the code and they don't stop. They do this shit every year.
That's beautiful, man. That's beautiful. That's constructive right there. I'm not trying to hold this up any longer, but I appreciate this is a pilot with Bobby Cash, and appreciate you, MoFax, for stopping by, especially you, Brian. We definitely about to do a spinoff with another live, like right after this with Brian, because Brian, that's the expert with narcissists. Like he just definitely, I'm just like, what the hell? Like he breaks it down in many aspects. So yeah, Bobby, you're gonna be, it's not gonna be your last time. It's gonna be weekly. You know what I'm saying? MoFax, thank you for coming in, and appreciate when I'm playing devil's advocate, or if I'm just looking at it from a different perspective. I like how you break it down for a better understanding.
I enjoy the constructive conversation. You know what I'm saying? You always take something away from it. And Bobby got to get you on the platform too.
I want to say thank you to everybody on this platform. Like these men know what I was going through in a hard time, and then when I was in a serious hard time, I didn't want to bother them, but they still checked on me before I get off of here. My channel is going to be more like a TV series that if you need to go back and think about something, you can always rewind it back, just like these fellows here. I don't want to give you stuff that's trendy. I want to give you stuff of longevity for the spirit. This is one of my favorite quotes. To set the mind on the flesh is to set the mind on death. To set the mind on the spirit is to set it on peace and longevity.
Let me take this screen off right here and go back to but damn, not like that. Like this, but I appreciate that for real. Bobby, send me the link to your channel and to your information. I can put your IG and all that in the description. Brian, you about to be up next. And if you want to, Bobby, you could definitely hop in on that. Ammo. Yeah,
I'm just be appreciative, and I'm gonna get back to re-editing because how Mo set that up for me, I'm gonna rearrange some things. I am glad that I was able to spend time with y'all. I'm about to start I'm trying not to cry because I've been going through, like, y'all really have been here for me, but I'm gonna hop off and let this man do his thing. But greatness to everyone and all you love, and to Deepness family and his lady, deepest condolences and greatness to you and everything y'all love as well. But I'm out of here, and I appreciate it, Grump. What's up, Mo? Love you, fam, and shout out to Brian.
Love you too, man. Love you too, man. Yeah, we about to be out, and Brian, don't you go nowhere.
No, it's cool, but
I'm about to keep it. Go ahead.
No, this is it's interesting. I'm I mean, it's cool to collaborate and stuff. I mean, I heard what they were talking about how you could share, but I don't know. I just feel like we're so far away from like the culture. I don't think we. I don't know. Not to be pessimistic, but I feel like we're so far away from like us. I don't know. It's very individualistic. Not to get on some Farrakhan shit. You know how Farrakhan said we should be communal. Now everyone's going for their own kind of individualist kind of motives.
Yeah.
The culture is just not about it. It's just not, from the music to, you know how we always say, like, you know, when you and I talk, it's always like there is no village. It's not even a neighborhood. The neighbors left is just a hood.
Hey, it's the manufactured culture we going off of. That's what I'm saying, Brian. Like when you say culture, it's like what culture are we talking about? Because when I look at the definition of culture, it's solving problems. It's had coming with solutions. It could be from carrying jugs of water on your head from a river to bring water to a village or something, along to with having the industrial way of bringing electricity to a neighborhood, you know. So, or it could be to dressing up, and you know, it could be many what ways we talking about. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead. My bad, not to cut you off, but I'm gonna in this stream.
No, it's okay.
I'm gonna send you this. I'm gonna send you this link. I'm gonna do it right now, like within a minute in this stream. I'm gonna just pop up another stream, and we're gonna rock out and I edit after that. Okay.
All right, sounds good.